Okay. We are now recording. Okay, guys. So a couple things here. I did have a question about the last assignment. So there are like a couple, like part of it is graded. So it will automatically grade those that are first up, but I have to grade the last section of it. So it may give you a lower grade. So you have to wait until I get in to grade the last section. So just to be aware there that you may have a lower score at first, but I got to go back in and grade them. Okay. So no worries there. Just hang tight as I do that. Okay. I think that's all I got right now. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with this lesson. Remember, this will be recorded for learning purposes. Yada, yada. Let me just jump in real quick just to the course just so you can see it real quick. Remember, if you missed it, the recordings are actually right here on the first page here. And then if you go to plan, this is what we have coming up here pretty soon. So live classes are on Monday. The exit ticket that I give today will be due on Friday. So that's when I put in zeros and everything, or I put them in over the weekend. So you want to make sure you get them in over that time. Next week is, thank goodness, Thanksgiving break. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm basically giving you time off. We're not going to have a live class that week or an assignment that's due. So basically we're going to go, the 29th will be our next class after this. And Friday will be when that's due. And you can kind of see, we'll have that class there, the final exam. I want to get you all the teaching and stuff done before your winter break kicks in. So you have your winter break, if you need to catch up, and the end of the block ends on the 7th. Okay. So just be aware that's what's going on for the next little bit. Okay. So any questions do you guys have on the schedule? What's going on? None? Okay. All right, here we go. So, so what we're going to be going over today will be in lesson 4, migration. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. Okay, remember just my expectations. Remember, you're following along with the Nearpod. Use the chat tool respectfully, and then respond to questions and instructions the first time. Okay, so migration. What we're going to be talking about in today's lesson, we're going to be talking about what's called push and pull factors and why those are kind of important and how they affect us in our lives. And so what you're going to happen is you're going to be given a Newsela article, which I'm going to throw out. I'll actually throw it out to you right now so you have it available if you want to jump to it on another screen. But you are going to read this article about immigration, somebody that's migrating from one place to another, and draw conclusions of push and pull factors. We're going to go over what those are today by listing 2 reasons for each of why the person wants to immigrate or migrate, to another country, and determine whether this is a voluntary or involuntary migration. So I know it sounds big, but we'll walk through every step of this so you can get good on you figure out what's going on. Okay, so what is migration? Okay, migration is the means that the movement of people from one area or region to another. Okay, migration also, when we're talking about it, different ideas migrate around, and some are just like regional. Okay, so in Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, those places are some of the only ones that I really feel have fry sauce. Is anybody not from Utah? And you came here and you're like, what is fry sauce? Okay, so I had Addie, she raised her hand. Did you know what fry sauce was before you came to Utah? Okay, she's still shaking her head. So that is a complete Utah thing, okay? So kind of think about those kind of things. Also, you got migration of different foods, right? So I am so happy for the Mexican or like Mexican food being influenced in Utah because now I can go to all these different Mexican restaurants because I like Mexican food, right? Or I like Indian food a lot too. So you can go through and you can kind of see how they're. All right, sorry, I'm trying to catch up on some of you guys' chats. All right, so let's stay on topic there. Okay. All right, so that's what we're talking about. The movement of ideas, people, places, all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about push and pull factors, what those mean. So we have here a push factor, okay, which means somebody is moving out of an area for some reason. Now, this political cartoon is what it's called. This kind of describes it the best. So we have people that are walking out of the city or kingdom, the castle here, and it says, we're leaving. We are leaving because we do not like the way things are done. And I think you hear people complain about that all the time, right? Maybe in Utah, they don't like the way things are done in Utah. So they decided, I want to leave. Think of those push factors. Why is it that you want to leave? Okay. And then you also have what's called pull factors, what's pulling people in. We are arriving because we do not like the way things are done elsewhere. And they think it's better, kind of like almost the grass is greener on the other side. Somebody said, like, who would not like the way things are done in Utah? I'm gonna say a lot of people. I've heard a lot of complaints about Utah from different people of why they don't like it. Okay. Yeah, and that's why you stay, right? That's why it's a pull factor for some other people to come in, is they really like the culture. And actually, culture is our next lesson. But the culture of where things are. But some people don't like what the culture is like in Utah, right? So they'd rather go somewhere else. Some other things is like weather. One of the things that's probably going to have me eventually move from Utah is the weather. Like, I would rather, I mean, I like Florida's weather actually, to tell you the truth, but I think I might move there sometime. I like the warm tropical climate. Okay. So somebody said I was born and grew up here, don't have any complaints. Okay. Yeah. So somebody said, what? There's no snow. Yeah, but I could live without a lot of snow. So we all have our things. So somebody said with me on that one. Yeah, I'd like to do that. So somebody said I've moved around a lot. Yeah, I think it's really good to go and see how other people um, like that. And Florida isn't lame, by the way. I like it. I love the ocean too, so that's another draw that I like. So you can see why people like places and don't like places. But everything we're kind of talking about, I'm kind of skipping ahead just a little bit, but everything we're kind of talking about right now is voluntary migration, meaning that I don't have to move from Utah, right? But I just think it'd be fun just to go to Florida, right? Okay, so that's I'm not forced to do it, but some people are involuntary, have to move because of certain reasons. Okay, let's watch a little video on this so we can kind of get a little better grasp of everything.
And the move of people and the spread of ideas, we have to talk about push factors and pull factors. They're kind of what it sounds like. Push factors are things that push people out of an area. They make it so they no longer want to be there anymore and they want to move to a different location. We could also even look at this for jobs and different things within your community. Something that is going to make you feel unwelcome, well, you're going to probably want to leave then. Push factors are things that are not welcoming. This could be poor economic conditions, a lack of opportunity, war or political oppression, or just oppression from your neighbors or people in the area. These are things that cause us to no longer want to be in a certain location. And because of that, then we decide to leave. So that's a push factor. Now, pull factors are a little bit different. Pull factors are what would attract someone to an area. A pull factor makes you want to move to that location. It makes you want to go to a certain area. We can break pull factors down into four main categories: economic pull factors, political, cultural, and also environmental. Our first category is economic pull factors, and this one is the most powerful at moving people. For here, people always want to move to areas with opportunity. And so they will go to areas with more economic opportunity. Places that have poor economic conditions are more likely to push people out. Economics is a big reason why people move. This is also why current day, the United States is a big destination for a lot of migrants and immigrants. Many people, particularly from Central America, want to come to the United States because of all the economic opportunity here. Let's look at an example. Let's say that we have a city and they just discovered a bunch of natural resources. This is going to start driving economic growth, and we're going to see an attraction to this particular area. We're going to see more miners, more loggers, more people come that want to be able to harvest and utilize these natural resources. There, then, we're also going to have more businesses come. If we're having all these new workers come into this area, that means there's going to be more people with money. So they have money to spend on different goods. And with that, then, we're also going to see probably more scientists and geologists come to look at what's going on with the environment and analyze the different areas. If we're having mines, well, they need to look at what's happening in the mines. Trees, we're going to be looking at different carbon monoxide output and what's going on there with the environment. And with all these excess people coming, we'll need more restaurants and stores and more housing. So all of this, just a simple discovery of natural resources, it becomes a huge pull factor. And we can transform an economy overnight, as now we're starting to see more workers and people come from all over the place just because of new opportunity. Our next topic is political. Now, people want to go to an area that's politically stable, where you're not seeing a lot of tension with the government and its citizens, where safety is on the rise, and we're not seeing a lot of crime escalation. They also want to go to an area where the government is supporting the people, where they're fulfilling their needs and helping the economy grow and make sure that we're not seeing a recession or anything that would cause uncomfortable times for its citizens. So people move to an area that's politically stable. Areas that aren't politically stable, well, that's going to be another push factor. That might cause refugees, someone who feels like they're persecuted and they have to flee the country, or internally displaced people where they're within their same borders, but there's a conflict and they've had to flee internally inside the country, or maybe even push them to become an asylum seeker. And that is where they're going to be going to another country in hopes of getting recognized as a refugee and gain that status. But a political motivation here is stability. People want to move to an area that's stable. The next category is cultural. Now, this is going to be different for each person because everyone has a different culture and a different view on life. Some people want to move to a big cities where they're going to have more diversity, both with their economic opportunities, but also in just the citizens who are living in that area. They'll start to be able to experience a faster paced life, and they might at the same time also have some higher crime rates and more traffic issues. Some people like the suburbs where you can have a yard, a front and a back. You'll have a bigger house. You'll have a lower crime rate, better schools, and you'll have maybe a more homogeneous area. So diversity goes down. Or some people want more of the rural lifestyle where they're in a small town and you have that family feel and you know everyone in the area and you're able to kind of pick and choose your community. Everyone has different cultural things that will pull them to a certain area. So culture can be a big aspect of it, particularly when people are having families. We see a lot of people start to move into the suburbs or in smaller communities when they have families because they want to make sure they're in a safe area. So this is a big pull factor for people. Our last category is the environment. People are attracted to environments that promote not only a happy life and a successful economy and a stable society, but ones that they feel comfortable with. Remember back to my video on the 4 twos, the too hot, too cold, too wet, and too high. Those are areas people don't want to be. I should definitely know some of this. I live in Minnesota where it is very cold in the winter. A lot of people don't want to live up here because of the coldness. They want to go to a warmer area. Now, there's other barriers that impact migration, such as mountains or government laws, restrictions, and also even just money. It's expensive to move. At the same time, though, what we've seen over time is it's become easier and easier to migrate and move. With communication and transportation improving, barriers we used to have are no longer there. That's also why we're seeing an increase of people moving, particularly to different countries that they see as more opportunity that is going to be available to them, where they can get a better life. And then we see now less of the physical restrictions, but more of a governmental stance. Governments now are passing laws and putting up barriers to try and prevent migration of people.
All right, so that went into a lot more detail than I ever did. But as you can see, why I want to move to Florida is an environmental factor, right? Because I like that. But there's also political, economic, cultural, all those different kind of things that you can do. Okay, so wait, let me see here what this says for you guys. The question that I have for you is, as it's thinking. Okay, so there's two things. Moving to another area because of employment opportunity is a blank factor. Okay. Would it be push or pull factor? What do you guys think? Okay, so you're getting moved. Yep. It's a pull factor. Very good for those that have answered. Thank you. Okay, so click to, oh, I was supposed to click to the next one. Dang it. Okay, pull factor. Okay, I got to push next down here. Okay, leaving a location because the area is now unsafe is called a push factor. Very good. Okay, so hopefully you guys understand that concept now of the different push and pull factors. So let's talk a little bit about push factors because some of them are not voluntary. Okay. Sometimes you have to move an area because your needs are not met. So this pyramid right here is what we call Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And basically, I think it's Abraham Maslow was a psychologist that came up with this, that in order to be able to live and be able to have a good life and be comfortable, you need to have certain things. So first you need to have your basic needs met. Now, if these basic needs are not met, that's pushing you out of an area. So for example, food, water, warmth, rest, safety, and security. If you have in the middle of a war zone and bombs are blowing up all over you, you're not going to be able to want to be in a certain area. Okay. Another one is air. For example, has anybody like dove down really far, like in a pool or something like that, and you're starting to lose air and you'll just do whatever you have to do to get back up to the top? Sure. Yeah, you'll do whatever it is, because when these basic needs aren't met, then you're going to see like crime. You're going to see everything like that. So for example, let's say, luckily we're in a society right now that food is available. Okay, what if we're in a society where food was not available? You kind of look at these kids over here, right? And it doesn't look like they get much to eat. What would you do for food? Would you steal somebody else's food? Okay. Would you hurt somebody else to get food? Right? Those are some things that we got to think about of when we're looking at other people, because other people are in that situation, okay, that they do not have that. So going up I guess the pyramid on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he has like psychological needs. So being able to have relationships, friends, prestige, feeling of accomplishment. And then his highest thing on the peak of the pyramid, he talks about what they call self-actualization, which basically means that you're in harmony with the way things are in life. And you feel comfortable, you have your needs met, all of your needs met, and you just feel good. You're able to do that. But when you don't have some of these things, it undercuts the pyramid and you're unable to maintain it. And that's why a lot of people are pushed out and they do certain things. So pull factors, okay? Reason why a person wants to go to another area. A lot of them, I think, freedom, money, okay? Being able to have these needs met. So that's the difference between push and pull factors. So I think I hopefully have hammered that into your heads that you understand the difference between the two. Okay. So let me ask you this question real quick. Have any one of you ever moved from one place to another? Okay. If so, if you have, then why? Okay. So I'm hoping to have at least a couple people there to answer this one. Why did you move from one place to another? Okay. So somebody said a push factor, mean people. Okay. Very good. Like people migrate schools too. Like they change schools and they get out of that certain environment they maybe don't like. Okay. Bigger, nicer house. Okay. So economic reasons. Yes, because my parents had to. Okay. That could have been an involuntary. So that's what we're going to talk about next is what's involuntary and involuntary. My family moved from Magna to Tooele in order to be closer to family. Yeah, I think having that network of people around you is important to a lot of people, right? And people that can help out and stuff. Okay, so somebody said, which time? All right, well, just one. Safety reasons. Okay, very good. Yep. Had to move somewhere less expensive. Okay, economic. Yes, because there was nothing to do there. Yeah, I think being able to have the opportunity to do things, it's very hard to stay in an area where so my wife grew up in rural Utah, and they don't have a lot of the amenities that we have where we live now, right? So it's really nice to be able to go to maybe a nice restaurant or something like that. But it's really fun to go back and visit where she lived too. So she likes being closer to like big stores and stuff like that. She's a shopper, spends way too much money. That's another story. Okay, we won't go into that one. Okay, moving on. All right, so now we have what's called voluntary versus involuntary migration. So migration is the permanent movement of people from one place to another. Voluntary migration is where the migrant or whoever's moving has the choice of whether to migrate or not. Okay. So for example, me wanting to move to Florida, that would be a choice. I can do it. It's voluntary. Nobody's forcing me or kicking me out. The other kind of migration is a forced migration. In forced migration, a government or authority forces someone to move. So for example, a lot of people are moving out of Central America because the drug cartels are really bad down there. Okay. There's violence. There is not a lot of food. That would be an involuntary migration. Okay. Because of those kind of issues. Okay. So let's fill in the blank here for those that are on the Nearpod. Let's say, are you living in Sudan, Africa, and a war breaks out? It is now unsafe for you to to live there. This would be considered a blank migration. What do you guys think? So I'll throw it in the chat for those that aren't on Nearpod. Okay, war breaks out. Involuntary. Thank you. So involuntary migration. You end up migrating to New York City, USA, after a year, and you find a higher paying job in Miami, Florida. This would be considered a what kind? Well, process of elimination, voluntary. I may have made this question up because I wanted to move to Florida. All right, very good. Okay, so this is going to be your exit ticket / assignment for the week, okay? You're going to read this article right there. I've already put the link in there, but this is a story about a 15-year-old wanting to go migrate from El Salvador to Mexico, and his story. It's not very long, just like a little over a page. So you need to read this article, and then you need to do it. So I'm going to go in here. Oh, man, I hate when it locks me out. Okay. So what you'll do is you go into this assignment, start the quiz, and of course, there's your exit ticket. You have the link here if you don't have it. Did you read the article? You need to list different push factors, list different pull factors, and list whether it's voluntary or involuntary after reading the article. Okay. So that will be your assignment for this week. So do you guys have any questions or anything like that I can maybe go over with you about migration? Okay, if not, that's what our assignment is today. So I'm going to stop the recording, but I'll be on after to answer any other questions you might have. So thanks for coming, everybody.